So I think I gotta do a little bit of a deposit so that I have it in reserve just in case I need it, as part of some sort of insurance, right? See, I at one point in time said that I was going to be self-insured instead of bonded, and I already did what I needed to do in order to assure that that was able to be put into effect. But we've got this problem. The major problem, and it's probably the problem that I anticipate somebody is really going to try to maintain, which is September 6th of 2021. It's going to be 5 years after I attempted to engage a good faith effort at contract negotiations in consideration of my efforts to take a mobile app development class online and let them know that I had certain considerations of the contract before signing and would only sign the contract contingent upon the acknowledgement of those specific additions to the contract. They resent me the contract, I signed it. Then after that, they began this whole game that has persisted until this time. And during that time, not one person has responded to me, up to and including on matters related to national security of the United States of America. And my primary concern with this contract had to do with the fact that it said that the only way to negotiate or to address problems was directly with the president himself. They didn't say president of what. It was an implicit sort of arrangement. And that was specifically what I clarified as part of what I sent to them. And nonetheless, till this time, it would seem that somebody wanted to persist in playing this game. That I was, for 5 years, bound to some contract where the only recourse I had was to serve at the pleasure of the president. But of course, what's happened during this time is there's been no legitimate confirmation on who that president would be. There's nothing constitutional about it. There's nothing legal about it. And somebody enacted this ceremony, this scheme, for reasons that they have not revealed. And in the course of any other person or entity participating as if they implicitly or explicitly acknowledge the terms of that fraudulent contract, they are aiding and abetting one of the world's most diabolical terrorist schemes. Now, I know what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to talk about my civil rights. And in consideration of my civil rights, I'm supposed to talk about my sexual orientation. This is what you want right now, right? This is what I'm understanding is supposed to be the requirement, the expectation, the implication. See, in order for whatever you've allowed to, at least at this point in time, be identified as the president, or rather, I contend, what you've set up as a potential future for a presidential candidate who may well be allowed to identify as the president, including in a manner that then allows for the consolidation of other futures for presidential candidates to then become theirs for execution as their policy, which is exactly what I've seen in the last 4.5 years. People that were otherwise capable and qualified to participate even in ordinary political process. Something as simple as, I don't know, attending a meeting of their co-op as a consumer. I don't know, participating in some sort of forum where you ask an actual political candidate a question, you get a response. I don't know, filing a grievance with an agency when you're seeking services and they give you misinformation and you start with seeking clarification. I don't know, trying to file a claim with a internal affairs department when a police officer tries to humiliate you in front of other people and ban you for not agreeing to participate in illegal activities. Well, all of those are futures, right? All of those reports, all of those secret proceedings that end up occurring after you've illegally surveilled me. Everything I do online and with any electronic accounts that you periodically just shut off and give to somebody else. All of the spam that's not spam. All of the things that actually demonstrate that this is part of a long-term operation that goes all the way back to when I was a fucking kid, and not just me. That intersections in my life with other people, including people who, when I met them at the time, understood were competent and capable, potentially the kind of people I might want to spend the rest of my life with in some manner, had already themselves been subjected to a paradigm where somebody else had identified them as some economic event that they sought to materialize with a certain outcome, and then manipulated events in their lives to judge their performance accordingly? Because I have a feeling that if you actually got to go to college and finish college and get that degree, and then maybe go to grad school or go to, I don't know, law school, medical school, those are contracts too, not just for financing. All of those are somebody's future. It should be the person who actually went to the school, right? But I have a feeling that it probably isn't. And so all these people that swapped in and out and got stuff I used to do for themselves, well, apparently they had some stuff that wasn't so hot. Or maybe was very hot, so to speak. They were hoping that I would go and work out for them. And because it had already been set up when I was a little girl, just by virtue of my fucking name, to be put in that position. Well, the contract's already been signed on my life. Somebody else already got that contract. And they're not going to be able to fulfill their terms unless I fulfill mine. I never agreed to the damn contract. Nobody had any right to try to obligate me to it for 5 fucking years. And when I said, wait a second, now you're operating under a completely misrepresentation of what this was about. You're acting like that contract said something and did something other than what I told you I would agree to, and you accepted. 5 years down the road? So do you expect to be able to pan this out for the entire month of July, the entire month of August, up until the beginning of September? Are you just going to keep ignoring me and letting this escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate and keep making some excuse that somehow somebody else had first claim or had right to first claim because they may actually be the president? And the president actually set it up to entrap people in a situation like this in order to try to compel them to agree to participate in acts of terrorism? I mean, do you really intend to do that? Because the truth of the matter is, does it matter to you? Does it matter to you if it's a lesbian doing it? Does it matter to you if I identify as, I don't know, maybe having some sort of Celtic root versus a more Scandinavian root? Does it make a difference if I throw a couple of Yiddish words at you versus maybe some Spanish I actually learned through getting to know people? Do you want a tribal identification? Do I need to show you a fucking tattoo so you can mark it on a fucking list and run it through your gang registry to see if maybe you could try to do some derivative action through OFAC? Why don't you do a literal action through OFAC? Why don't you get back to me on what happened with that account the Department of State set up on me while I was teaching minors in another fucking country before you tried to get some fraudulent bullshit contract bonding me to somebody that won't even declare their intent to be presidential but still expect me to serve at their pleasure? It doesn't really matter what my gender identity is. I've been celibate for years, and I have every right to be celibate. I have every right to not be celibate. And you have no fucking right to do any of this.